So this actually looks like a secondary pseudo Psychrift actually. Or maybe Culling Ritual might be more accurate actually. So Mist of Lorien is a new card that have actually been leaked. It's not something that was supposed to be spoiled. Someone leaked it basically from Wizard of the Coast. Therefore you get to see it in a very strange look. But it is worth talking about it now. So it is 1 blue and 2 generic and then replicate 1 blue. Return target non-land permanent and each other non-land permanent with the same mana value as the permanent to their owner's hand. So let's say you target a Grafdigger's Cage, a stax card that is hurting you currently from winning the game, clearing the board state from it. You're also going to bounce every 1 CMC Mana Dork, every Soldering, the Esper Sentinel, everything with a CMC mana value of 1. And this is actually why I wanted to compare it to Culling Ritual, because that is 4 mana, which is basically the same thing with Mist of Lorien, to destroy everything of CMC 2, 1 and actually 0, so Culling Ritual does more in that case. But Culling Ritual is actually generating mana, Mist of Lorien isn't. Actually it could. So when you bounce that Grafdigger's Cage, you're also bouncing your Soul Ring, which means that you can recast your Soul Ring. And Soul Ring basically costs 1 mana, but generates 2. It's a ritual. This is also true with your Mana Vault, so if you have Mana Vault Soul Ring in play, you bounce on Grafdigger's Cage, then yeah, you're starting to actually accumulate mana from this. But Replicate makes it very interesting. When you cast this spell, copy it for each time you've paid its Replicate cost. You may choose new targets for the copies. So the first copy will resolve, bouncing everything on CMC 1. The second copy will also resolve and let's say bounce everything on CMC 0. This suddenly means that you're bouncing your Mox Opal potentially. Your Mox Amber, your Crow Mox, and your Mox Diamond if you have them in play, and your Mana Crypt too. And then you recast them and generate mana. Yeah, basically turn Mist of Lorien into a potential ritual if you have the setup. So there actually is a very cool card called Paradoxal Outcome. It's a little bit of a casual ritual card. Return any number of target non-land, non-token permanents you control to their owner's hand. Draw a card for each card returned to your hand this way. Mist of Lorien is doing a pseudo-similar thing. You're not drawing cards, but you're regaining your ritual mana rocks. But Mist of Lorien is bouncing your opponent's stacks cards. It's clearing away what's problematic for you, while giving you potential mana at the same time. And I don't think you need to pay more than 4 or 5 mana into this, depending on. You probably want to bounce everything at 0, that's going to bounce your CMC 0 mana rocks. Everything at 1, that's going to be your Soul Ring and Mana Vault and such. Maybe bounce everything at 2, because that's going to bounce your CMC 2 mana rocks, because sometimes it's good to filter that colorless mana from Mana Vault into an Arcane Signet into a colored mana, so to say. But there is a tiny bit of a problem. You see, usually the targets you need to bounce are on 2, Collector Oof and things like that, but also 3, Oppo Agent, Archon of Emeria. A lot of stacks cards are on CMC 3. However, there aren't that many things you want to bounce for yourself at CMC 3. But it will be great bouncing Collector Oof and bouncing your 2 CMC mana rocks as well at the same time. We should talk about board wipes, because Toxic Deluge is basically doing the same thing, getting rid of all creatures possible, but there is a difference. There are these stacks enchantments like Deafening Silence and artifacts, Grafdigger's Cage, that Toxic Deluge can't deal with. This is a program targeted at everything. You can literally bounce everything, or you can bounce specific converted mana cost targets. Which means that you're gonna target all creatures, all artifacts, all enchantments at that same mana value. So bouncing an annoying Deafening Silence that is preventing you from winning the game will also at the same time bounce your own Soul Ring. A typical commander that could be really happy with this one is Joyra Weatherlight Captain. There are actually other versions of this, Or let's just say that they are more target player. You might have heard of Rebuild, a instant for free mana return all artifacts to owner's hand. Perfect for Yoira, you're bouncing your annoying opponent's stax artifacts while regaining yours so you can cast them again to generate ritual mana from Sol Rings and Kardra from Yoira. And Mist of Lorien is something of the same thing, but now you can bounce your opponent's creatures, enchantments, while you're still bouncing your own artifacts as well. She's literally creating a paradoxical outcome with this. But more or less every Storm commander could be interested in this. Kess Dissident Mage, a typical example of a Storm Grixis commander. Okay, she can actually play more of a turbo combo fast as Tainted Pact consult strategy, but she also plays like a Grixis Storm style too. And being on a very high CMC, Kess being on 4, you're not really gonna bounce her by accident with this. When we go to more open commanders like Nayela the Blade Blossom, that is a very universal turbo commander, so to say, on 5 colors. She can basically include everything. She usually plays a Storm strategy too, like a secondary plan B, so to say, or like a par with plan A. She usually plan A go for Nayela combos, but also plan A Adnos and Undual Breach and things like that too. So Mist of Lorien in Nayela, maybe. Really maybe. Could see it. But I also could see why she wouldn't play it. I mean, I don't think Nayela is playing that many culling rituals. Guess I was wrong. Here is some statistics. From 183 decks that have entered cEDH tournaments, it basically had an inclusion rate among those to an 73.8, 74% inclusion rate basically, with an average win rate of 24.68, where the average win rate of Nayela is a little bit lower than that, so it's heavily played inside Nayela, I would say. For those that haven't seen this before, I'm usually doing statistics on various commanders, how they have been performing inside the tournaments, and how different cards have been performing inside the tournaments as well. So spoiler alerts, I'm doing a Nayela analysis statistics video pretty soon. But this means that even Nayela could be considering this clearly. If she's considering culling ritual, then yeah, this could be an option too. And that means that if Nayela is playing it, then yeah, a lot of different commanders could be interested in it as well. For Tymna are usually playing a very similar style, similar to how Nayela is operating, and usually includes culling ritual if she's going with Thrasios. Thank you so much for watching this little short cEDH card review. As we have many more cards to actually look into, more card reviews are coming up, and I also hope you're interested and keen on the new Nayela statistics video that's in a work in progress. Hopefully, I have it out on Friday. And in that video, we will be taking a look at what are the best cards for Nayela and some that have been underestimated of sorts. Until then, take care guys, and I'll see you in the next one.